Litad, uh, so in your writing, you started really young. And how do you balance your culture when writing to themes that resonate to a global audience?
First of all, thank you for having me here at the MGF. And thank you for your question. I think one of the things that can help me reach a global audience is finding the similarities in us. And sometimes you might think that's a bit hard, but it's actually easier than we think. Because although we have things that can unite us and values that we can, if we take together, we can find the similarities in each other. And so what I try to do in my writing is I'm not just targeting the audience here in Saudi Arabia and the younger generation, but I'm also trying to spread my word and make an impact on a global audience. And what's great in that is I can see the topics that are meaningful to me and try to spread the words to everyone. And there are so many things that we should be talking about. And so I try to pick the topics that I feel are important to talk about, and I try to write about them.
That's great. I love personally everything you write. It shows
Thank you.
A mature mind behind it. In your recent writings, you focused mainly on Vision 2030, on sustainability and cultural preservation. What are the questions that you're trying to answer through your writings, exploring the Saudi culture in a futuristic context?
I think it's a very exciting thing to think about. Because when you do, you see that there are just so many possibilities. When we look at it from a perspective that's cultural, then a question that I might want to ask is, what can we take with us as we move on to the future, while also keeping in mind where we're from and our roots and our identity? And I think that's an important thing. Uniqueness comes from the roots, and if you're building on that, then you're off to a great start, and that's how you can really make an impact and move on in your future. And that's basically what I try to do in my writing. And from a cultural perspective, I think Saudi Arabia has always kept in mind the idea of cultural preservation, resourcefulness, and sustainability. And you can see that in our projects as well. And we have initiatives that is doing so much and investing so much in greening, not just Saudi Arabia, but the Middle East. And we have an initiative for that. And I try to find these sometimes little and big things that I can integrate in my writing and share that with the world, because I feel like it's important to touch on topics like that. And sometimes we might not find a lot of information on that from many articles, and I try to just be more open about it and talk about it and share it with the world, because I feel like it's such an important thing to talk about.
So nowadays, we live in an era where younger people might find it difficult to reconcile modern life with their cultural roots. What would your advice be to those people to form a confident, a cultural identity of their own?
I think that's a great question. The first thing I would say is just be who you are in this world of change. The world is just moving so rapidly nowadays. We have social media, we have all these new technologies here with us today. And if you suddenly feel not sure about how you should think about who you are, just be yourself. And I think this might be a general tip, but it's truly the most honest thing I could say about it. Because when you're true to yourself, it'll show. And when you're true to yourself, people will feel that. And if they feel that, then anyone is comfortable than that. And I think it's an important thing we sometimes forget. So when you're scrolling through your phone and seeing all these people with so many achievements and people who've been such a long way in their own journeys, just make sure that you're focused on your own journey. Remember your heritage, remember your culture, remember all of these things. Once that happens, then you will be able to take that big leap and move on in your journey.
And to add to that, remember that being modern doesn't mean يعني looking alike for everyone in every culture.